we've got a mayor's race coming up in New York City. I lived in New York City for 15 years. It is, I would argue, one of the greatest cities, if not the greatest city in the entire world. I have since moved out of New York City. You might notice my background here. I'm in New York, but I'm not in New York City. I'm in Westchester. I'm out of there right now. I've got 2 kids. I don't want to be part of New York right now. They're doing something, Amber, that I think is really interesting with their mayor's race there. They're using ranked choice voting in the upcoming mayor's election. So that means voters are able to rank up to 5 candidates on the ballot from their first choice all the way down to their 5th choice. But they also have the option of only voting for their first choice. And a lot of people are arguing that this is going to impact things in maybe a negative way for Andrew Cuomo, who a lot of people thought was just kind of a shoo-in for this new job. There is an individual who a lot of people say is just as flat-out socialist. Zohran Mamdani is his name, and he is the latest highest polling individual in this mayor's race. So if you have this ranked choice voting, it actually is going to benefit him, a lot of people are saying. And that is a little bit of a scary thing for a city like New York, because New York needs some help. It has not been run appropriately for quite some time. The people of the city of New York, I think, deserve better. I think the NYPD deserves better. I think that if you got the right leadership there in New York, you could see some really great things happen for that city. But unfortunately, I don't know that we're going to see that. This is a little bit of a scary prospect. What do you think, Amber, about this New York City mayor's race?
It's been crazy to watch, and I think you're right. The New York people have basically 2 pretty terrible options. On one hand, you have Andrew Cuomo, who's ostensibly a more moderate Democrat, but also cites Trump as an existential threat to the country, and of course has a history of scandals under his belt during his time as governor. And then you have Zohran Mamdani, who is an avowed Democratic socialist, who has said that the NYPD is essentially something that should be eliminated, but also has called out Cuomo for those scandals in terms of the corruption, the sexual harassment, the nursing home, COVID cover-up. So yeah, it's sort of like picking between the least bad option. But in this case, like, are there any really redeeming qualities for either of these candidates? So I am extremely curious as to what the New York people are going to do. And on the ranked choice point, there are entire consulting firms dedicated to navigating those very complicated waters. And I'm sure that there's a lot of money flying around and will be flying around until Election Day, trying to figure out the best way for these candidates to take advantage of something that is quite novel compared to how most elections are run around the country.
Libby, these are some of Mamdani's big things, big ticket items he wants to see happen. Free buses, free childcare, city-run grocery stores, city-financed housing construction. He has no vision for slashing any other spending except for, as Amber just pointed out, the NYPD. He has a marquee vow of 0 rent hikes that would devastate the city's housing stock, pushing already overstressed smaller landlords spiraling into bankruptcy, bringing a citywide version of the 1970s The Bronx is Burning nightmare. This could be really bad for New York City. I hope that people in New York are paying close attention to this mayor's race, because you had AOC out over the weekend, championing this guy, the socialist, because this is what she wants to see nationwide. This is the goal. This is how crazed that party's become. That's what they want. They want a socialist mayor of New York City, Libby.
Yeah, I think it's really, I think Mamdani is absolutely the worst idea for New York in, I don't know, in at least 100 years. I mean, he is absolutely the worst idea. AOC has endorsed him. You listed some of his priorities for policies, which are so bad. This is a city that cannot operate a soup kitchen. This is a city that can't stop the public transit from flooding. This is a city that can't keep the corner baskets clean or the rats off the street. And when I lived there, half the time if you got a blizzard, They wouldn't even plow the roads. They'd just be like, "Oh, we can't do that today." You'd just be stuck. It's a disaster. This city is it's the best city in the world.
Yeah.
It's the most glorious, terrific city. It's got cultural offerings. It's properly laid out in a grid format so that you can't get lost. This is a great city. All of these policies would ruin it. The city-run grocery store is terrible. Free buses, terrible. All of these things, you know, the community policing, terrible. We know that that's bad. We know that the city does well when you have conservative leadership that comes in there and cracks skulls like Giuliani did. He got a lot of heat for that at the time. I remember that very distinctly, Washington Square getting cleaned up. Suddenly you could walk through Washington Square without being offered drugs. It was amazing. And that was in, like, I think 1994. So, yeah, this is a terrible idea. He would be awful for the city. He would drive out the people who make the money and spend the money in that city. One thing that's important to remember about New York is Manhattan needs to be, it's at its best when it's a playground for the wealthy, right? When the wealthy can come in, they can buy their penthouses, they can spend money on great restaurants, they can create all these jobs, they can keep their headquarters there, they can walk to work. These executives who make millions of dollars are very happy when Manhattan is their playground. And what happens with all of that excess money? It spills out into the outer boroughs. And then the rest of the city can be happy. You can have nice parks, right? Like Bloomberg made all of these beautiful parks in the outer boroughs. You can have your affordable housing out there, your 80-20. But what Mamdani wants to do is funnel all of these programs that he thinks are going to help people. In a lot of cases, they're not going to help. Community policing is a bad idea. You're going to get your community police killed because criminals are smart. They know how to work these systems. Yeah, this is a terrible idea. Everybody should vote against Mamdani. Cuomo is a terrible answer as well, but I think people should probably vote for him instead. If they can't stomach Eric Adams and his bribery, then that's probably what they should do. But what I want to know is, why do Republicans not offer the people of New York a good solution? Why don't they offer a mayoral candidate that can get things done? Like, get us a new Giuliani, you know? Like, let's do that.
100%. And I feel like that's what people want. You know, the socialist wants to literally defund the police. I mean, this guy's saying he wants to take funding away from the NYPD. Remember how poorly that has worked out for so many Democrat-run cities all over this country. It's been a disaster. You take money away from the safety and security, then you have none of it. It is going to be just a hellscape there in New York. I can't even imagine how bad that would possibly be. But you need someone with a Giuliani-type energy, because you're right, Libby. Prior to Rudy Giuliani becoming the mayor of New York City, there were certain areas of New York where people just knew not to go because you'd get killed. Like, you could not go there. You couldn't. People were not going to take their families there on vacation. People were just not having it. And he came in and he cleaned it up. And sometimes you need a little bit of a strong arm to get it done. I don't know why we don't have someone here to do that, but it's a scary time. And, you know, I've talked a lot about the fact that I've left New York City. I would love to be able to go back one day if it made sense for me.
Me too.
You know,
me too. I love New York.
Yes, but we're not going back like this. We can't.
What are you supposed to do with this? You know, this is absolutely insane. The crime is up all over the place. The subways are a mess. The police are demoralized. You've got these protests that are out of control, people getting arrested, chucking stuff at cops. None of this should stand. And meanwhile, who's suffering in all of this? The people of New York who just live there, who live in their apartments, who go to their jobs, who pay their bills. And it's diminishing the quality of life there. And that's what matters to, you know, that's what matters to people who live in cities. And that's what matters to New Yorkers, is your quality of life. Is everything clean? Is it safe to walk home at night? Can you go out with your friends without worrying you're going to get harassed by a psychopathic, crazy person, you know, claiming that it's the second coming or something? Yeah, it's the little things.
It's the little things, like not getting harassed. It's the little things like that. Why is there so much trash also? Every time I'm in the city, because being in Westchester, I go to the city, there's just trash everywhere still. Are they not picking up the trash in New York? What is going on there? I don't know.
They don't always do well with the sanitation workers union. You know, the sanitation workers union has the city over a barrel. And meanwhile, starting salary, I think, is over $60K just entry level sanitation.
We got to fix it. We got to get New York City back. I hope everybody votes against socialism in New York City.
For full shows, live and on demand, it's Salem News Channel.